Alright, let's see if this is working. Hopefully my mic's on. Let's see. Okay. Let's get a post out and then we'll start. It's gonna be a long week today. This week. Today's felt like a long week, I'm not even gonna lie. It's gonna be a long week though. Maybe a generational one. Maybe a generational week. Live now on Rumble and YouTube. That looks fine. Close enough. It's up. And we're up. Maybe. Kind of. Oh, I forgot to use the other can today. It's all good. It's all good. Oh no. So, if you would, go ahead and drop a like. Follow on Rumble. Subscribe on YouTube. Turn those post notifications on. Share with somebody today. This is going to be a rather interesting one. Especially given what all has happened in the last weekend. But we'll jump right into it and address the issues. So today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. This is episode number 48 of Addressing the Issues. It was a little late start in the day, but it should be fine. Hopefully people pick up and get in here, realize that I wasn't skipping. Never skip Monday. I think that's what the saying is. So, after a weekend of terrible weather, Punxsutawney Phil emerged from his burrow on an overcast day in Pennsylvania, declaring 6 more weeks of winter. He may not be a meteorologist, but if you just walked outside today, it's possible to confirm it's definitely not spring yet. There's no degree in meteorology required. Many people across this nation can confirm, with blizzard conditions reported in North Carolina over the weekend, 4 more houses fell into the surf on the Outer Banks this weekend. They're all previously condemned homes, just due to coastal erosion. It's not sea level change, but I'm sure the extra weight of snow and ice on top did not help them at all, especially the winds blowing the surf in. I see that. Nashville is still experiencing power outages from last weekend's storm. Still, it's absolutely unreal they can't get the power restored there. And cold-stunned iguanas are literally falling from the trees here in Florida. They have collections. You're allowed to actually transport them yourselves without a license to culling practices, culling shelters. But yeah, it's been an interesting week. I actually saw one of these iguanas that fell themselves. It was getting its head pecked through by a vulture, so he didn't make it. Anybody with half a brain could have told us that we're going to have more winter. Now understand why we are still participating in this spectacle of whether or not we think a groundhog can see its shadow on an overcast day. It's a distraction, particularly this year, with it absolutely dominating the news cycles this morning. It's like we all knew this. We all knew it's cold outside. And For some reason, people still believe that someone can determine whether or not a groundhog can see its shadow. I would call these crazy people. Is the groundhog talking to you? Are you hearing voices? Do you not understand that you can just walk outside today and unequivocally determine it's not spring and won't be for a while? That's my opinion. But we have actual weather models for this. This is the 21st century. And I challenge all of you, next time you're outside on an overcast day, a day you can't see the sun through the clouds, to look around and try and find your shadow. I can guarantee you'll spin around for hours and look just as silly as these people that show up in Pennsylvania for this guy that thinks that he can speak to a groundhog. It's a rather interesting phenomenon in American culture. There's no way you would know whether he sees his shadow. There's no way he can tell you whether he sees his shadow. Yet people make the trip out there every year, do that same silly shenanigans. I don't understand it. I'll probably never understand it. But apparently we, in the 21st century, need a groundhog to tell us what the weather's doing. It's absolutely sad, the state of the human species. In our main story today, in this recent 3 million file release, the idiom, that truth is stranger than fiction, has basically been proven correct. And this is just half of the 6 million total files that are expected to come out. Ironic number, I know. Especially when this is just a small portion of all the evidence that should have been collected in investigations. A rumored number of 40 terabytes of total data has been collected, yet it's still was not a completed investigation. The investigation was cut off during the first plea deal, the plea deal that allowed Jeffrey Epstein to leave jail on the weekends and to grant immunity to all co-conspirators. And Steve Bannon's flood the zone tactic is being fully exercised, releasing them 3 million at a time. Kind of ironic given his relation to the late financier, who by many accounts was terrible at finance. And I'm not sure he's even deceased given the information we've received. A bombshell in the recent file drops is the Metropolitan Correction Center prison guard, identified now as Robert Grijalva. He anonymously posted on his 4chan account his account of the events that took place in the prison related to the passing of Jeffrey Epstein, August 10th, 2019. At approximately 6:39 a.m. is when it was announced. Said in a post on August 10th, 2019, he says that the night before Epstein's passing at 4:15 p.m., Epstein was taken front cuffed in a medical wheelchair, but not a single nurse at the jail claimed that they spoke with him. Roberto further claimed that the trip van showed up, how prisoners are transported, before claiming that the trip van did not sign in, the license plate number of the trip van was not recorded, and it contained a guy in green dress military outfit. He was in the back of the van, according to the person that led it through the prison gate. And within 24 hours, Jeffrey Epstein is placed into a single-person cell and is reported to have hung himself, with the video given to us depicting his last 24 hours missing over a full minute, a time that it would more than possible be to extract him and wheel him off from the cell. As the prison guard claimed in the post that he thinks he was switched out, the only person that allegedly identified Jeffrey afterwards was his brother Mark. There's been no DNA evidence taken not even such as a fingerprint to confirm that it was Jeffrey. On August 11th, 2019, U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Bergman of the Southern District of New York subpoenaed AT&T for all information related to this post and two others, including an 8:16 a.m. post, about 40 minutes before his actual passing, which claimed that Jeffrey Epstein died of hanging and cardiac arrest before the news broke nationally. By August 14th, when the poster was identified, after the August 13th, 2019 subpoena from AT&T requiring his name, address, telephone numbers, and email addresses, social security number, date of birth, network addresses, MAC address, and browser and operating system information, Roberto Grijalva was subpoenaed himself. Roberto Grijalva was on count slips doing prisoner counts for the Metropolitan Correctional Center. Now, I don't think this for sure confirms that Jeffrey Epstein is still alive, but a drone video of Little St. James, roughly a month after his passing, shows a man that looks remarkably like Epstein, landing on the side of a vehicle during the clean out of the island. This doesn't help his case either, or I guess the case. I guess it helps his case if he's alive. This was first reported on September 4, 2019 by a journalist on The Unshackled. And another video of a man in a red truck emerged in October 2020. He looked a lot like Epstein at the Zorro Ranch, another property owned by the late financier Jeffrey Epstein. So there's a lot of strange coincidences here. A couple of people that believe that they've seen him after his death. Person on the ground that believes that he could have been swapped out. And apparently, a 24-hour video with over a minute missing from it. So, do with this information as you will. I'm not saying that he didn't pass away due to hanging in his jail cell. It's just all fishy coincidences that have occurred surrounding this incident, I will call it. And the one dude that did attempt to break the news publicly had to appear in front of a judge, had to be subpoenaed to the Attorney General. It's just strange. It's just very, very strange. And while all this is fun, there's so much more to unpack on this. It's fun to assume that he got swapped and has been seen at two of his properties after allegedly passing away. But it's time to, examine his ties. Ties to the CIA, ties to the MI6, ties to Mossad, ties to the KGB. He actually employed an ex-Russian propagandist, Masha Drakova, famous for the 2012 documentary Putin's Kiss. Masha was a publicist for Jeffrey Epstein while working for a venture capitalist firm, Day One Ventures, which was accused, or has been accused, of stealing U.S. technology secrets for Russian interests. And there's also an email from Greg Brown, where Greg Brown claimed in an email to Epstein that he, Greg, also has friends formerly with MI6 and Mossad, willing to help identify stolen assets and get them recovered from Libya during the Libyan civil war, just months before the fall of Muammar Gaddafi. Epstein was also in charge of compromising Prince Andrew, who there in no way was MI6 not knowledgeable of, or even possibly approving in the operation. Epstein's late father-in-law, Robert Maxwell, had previously worked as a triple agent for the KGB, Mossad, and MI6. This was before he died, while attempting to extort $400 million back from Mossad because they never paid back his communication and publishing companies, such as Macmillan. They stole their pension funds. Using these pension funds, Mossad was able to launder the money. Robert Maxwell would then receive a near-state funeral in Israel and be buried on the Mount of Olives, a site designated for only the most esteemed of Jewish figures. Esteemed throughout history. There's people there buried through the entirety of Israel and even from before. It's a renowned burial ground. So it's strange, that as well. There's also Epstein having a rather strange correspondence with former Israeli Prime Minister, former head of Israeli military intelligence, and former Defense Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, in 2018. Ehud Barak opens with, "Hi, Jeff, are you going to be in London on Thursday? Best, EB." Jeffrey Epstein responds, "Unfortunately not, and you should make it clear that I don't work for Mossad," followed by a smile composed of a semicolon in parentheses. Ehud Barak responds, "You or I?" Jeffrey Epstein responds that I don't, with another smile composed of semicolon in parentheses. In a recorded conversation between Jeffrey Epstein and Ehud Barak, Jeffrey Epstein explains how the transition from government to the private sector and how to build a private business. Jeffrey claims that Ehud should make a list of people that owe him a favor or people that owe him their life, before telling Ehud to target Peter Thiel of Palantir, misspelling both his name and the company's names in the process, multiple times on the company. And then there's obviously the question of whether he worked for the CIA, given that they discovered a child trafficking ring and he received 18 months in prison, which only he served 13 months of, while being allowed to leave on the weekends. And after he got out, was able to set up the same exact blackmail and trafficking apparatus. That should probably tell you everything you need to know. If this isn't good enough, Epstein worked with Adnan Khashoggi, father of Jamal Khashoggi. He had a little incident in Turkey a while back. But during the 1980s, he worked with Adnan Khashoggi on the Iran-Contra scandal for the transfer of U.S. weapons from Israel to Iran. Epstein was involved with the Southern Air Transport, the CIA shell company that flew arms to both Iran and the Contras in Nicaragua. Epstein helped with the transfer of these aircraft to Columbus, Ohio, to serve the interest of his client, Les Wexner, billionaire behind Victoria's Secret, who Epstein would become the power of attorney of Wexner's financial affairs. A little strange connection there. But it seems, this isn't definitive, but Epstein was an intelligence mercenary. He'd work for anybody, he'd work with anybody, whether it be the KGB, MI6, Mossad, the CIA. If you wanted blackmail on somebody, Epstein had the resources at his disposal to do it. He brought in royal family from England, oligarchs from Russia, billionaires in the U.S., defense leaders from Israel. So if you wanted control, and that's what this seems to be about, control over someone powerful, you went to Epstein to compromise them, because he had the apparatus to do so. He was able to compromise individuals with power, individuals with money, and then they could use these videos, these photos as leverage, use them as leverage over these powerful people, not just in the U.S., but around the world. But another interesting part about this whole file drop, these most recent 3 million, is how prominent the Hebrew slur goyim is referenced and used in these email correspondences. This term goy, technically meaning nation, and goyim, technically meaning nations, has basically evolved into an othering term used by Jewish people to other non-Jewish people or gentiles. It's basically the modern-day Jewish equivalent of calling people coloreds in the 1900s. And this instance of supremacy comes up often. Comes up really often in his correspondences. One of the first ones that I was pointed to was the correspondence of Masha Drakova, the girl from the Putin's Kiss documentary, when she talks with Epstein that the higher percentage of Jewish somebody is, the smarter they are. She writes, "I found criteria to find smart people. The more Jew you are, the smarter you. You said you're 98% Jew. You're very smart. My ex-boss is 78% Jew. He is super smart, less smart than you are. I have a close friend/business partner who is 99.3% Jew. He is crazily smart. We take all Jewish people. Sourcing can be done through relatives. Ask them to do a 23andMe test. Do event for everyone who is 98% Jew. Also, all of them are not religious. Do you think it makes sense, right?" It doesn't say what Epstein's response to this was. There's a correspondence with Peggy Segal, and she sought to clarify that no goyim would be allowed at an upcoming gathering. She writes to Epstein, "It is going to be 100% Jew night. ? Even Perelman on Yum Yum has some goyim. I am getting my media elite list FedExed out for Saturday and will email some names. What about Charlie Rose? Love him. What about Jane Fonda, my new best friend? Nothing like an ex-Jew hater with a Jewish boyfriend to mix it up. Peg." To which Epstein responds to this one. He says, "No, goyim in abundance. J.P. Morgan execs, brilliant wasps." And you go to another instance in which Michael Wolff wrote to Jeffrey Epstein, "War between the Jews and the non-Jews. Jews presently winning." When relating to, I believe it was, what's his face? That was related to Steve Bannon getting in trouble, getting arrested. In an email from Jeffrey Epstein to Jeffrey Epstein, he wrote, "At my dinner table, I asked, why are you guys so anti-Semitic? One said, historically, we all know it's actually been the Jews behind the governments pulling the strings. I said, like who? And one pointed at me, and they all started to roar with laughter. Me? And one guy said, how do you explain in only 3 days there have been princes, prime, and other ministers, emissaries, plus 2 presidents of world bodies guilty? So funny. Wish you were here." In an email from Jeffrey Epstein to Robert Schenck, he writes, "This is the way the Jew make money, and made a fortune in the past 10 years. Selling short the shipping futures, let the goyim deal in the real world. From shipping news, the most dramatic growth has been in shipping futures, which allow shipping companies to lay off risks. The most popular futures are forward freight agreements, FFAs, to deliver goods on a particular route at some point in the future. They have grown in the past year to be roughly the size of the physical market, according to Bill Lines of the Baltic Exchange, a shipping bazaar in London that sells FFAs. Many in the industry have been suspicious of such futures because they have been averse to hedging their bets. Risk-taking, after all, is part of the game, and averse to complicated financial instruments that they do not really understand." So he's talking about manipulating the markets. I hope you're starting to get it. This is with just what people have been able to go through of the 3 million files currently released. There's yet more to come. And this level of brazen supremacy. I never want to hear about anti-Semitism again. It's not real. It's a made-up concept to hold what they call the Goyim down. It's not that they feel threatened. They don't feel that at all. It's an apparatus to maintain this power structure that they built within communities, systems, and governments. And when you noticed it, you get questioned. You get accused with a made-up term that the ADL created to prevent this same thing from happening. And this is where we are right now. We're on the brink of war with Iran. We've got people in power that are child predators. They associate with child predators, people that have allegedly cut arms and legs off of children, done on other unspeakable things to them. And yet, we're in trouble for anti-Semitism with possibly the most supremacist group I've ever read in my life. I mean, this is the point we're at. And it's only halfway there. It's not like they've released the most damning yet. It's not like they've released the most shocking yet. This is what they were okay with releasing. Like I said, I mean, it was the Bannon tactic of flooding the zone. But none of this looks good. None of this looks good at all. You've got evil people being manipulated by others. And in general, all of humanity being manipulated with slander, being manipulated with accusations of supremacy. There's no supremacy on earth. We're all created equal under the likeness of God. However, some people seem to not think that. They think that they can get away with these awful crimes to children, get away with these awful crimes to humanity in general. I mean, whether you think he's passed away or not, he obviously had ties to all of these intelligence apparatuses around the world. Yet we're not supposed to notice that you can be a 4-time agent. We're not supposed to notice that many of the people hate Gentiles. Oh no. Let's see if I can fix this. Are we back? I've been having trouble computer troubles today, so figured this would be par for the course. It says recovering. Okay, there we go. We're back. I've been having computer troubles today. I figured this would be par for the course today. Or maybe somebody else is doing it. They're kicking me off Rumble. Kicking me off YouTube. No, but, I mean, you get in trouble for noticing things like this. Yet the people that manipulate these power structures within our society, within the society of Earth, never get in trouble. They get a slap on the wrist, 13 months in prison, allowed to go out on the weekends to maintain this evil enterprise that capitalizes on your children, an enterprise that punishes your children. Yet you're always the one that's in trouble for noticing that it's tearing people apart, families apart, darn near our country apart. Like I said, this is just what people have found of the 3 million so far. Nobody's had time to go through it all. And we'll be back on the same task at hand when the other 3 million come out. Ones that are likely much darker, scarier, more evil than these. And if you've noticed also that some of these have gone up, went back down, and then went back up again, and the files look a little bit different. There's more redactions. They've been exposing witnesses. They've been exposing victims. And we're just supposed to be okay with it. I'm not. I don't think that this is right. I think it's evil. I think everything that this operation was set up to do was evil. I mean, he worships Baal, basically the devil himself. That's been noted from some of his exchanges, some of the imagery. I mean, even on his New York residence, people have noticed that it looks a lot like the devil is inscribed in stone at his house. And we're just supposed to be okay with it. I'm not. Nobody should be. You should be really upset that this ever happened. And you should demand accountability from everybody. I mean, there's like legitimately 2 people in Congress that fought for this transparency. These files have been around since 2019, just sitting around. What's gone on since then? We've had a whole presidency. We're on our third different Congress from them. And it was never released. You've got to consider that some of these people are at least influenced, if not blackmailed by this, or just bought off by people that are. It's disturbing. It's disgusting. We'll have a brief update on the imminent Iran war. At a press gaggle in Mar-a-Lago this weekend, a journalist asked President Trump on Iran. The supreme leader today said attacks would spark a regional war. President Trump responded, "Hopefully we make a deal. If we don't make a deal, we'll find out whether or not he was right." I hope you think about who the beneficiaries of this will be. The U.S. isn't in the range of a single Iranian missile. The only thing we're going to get back in return are higher energy prices, likely more refugees, and our brothers and sisters coming back home in body bags. It's never worked out there before, and it's never benefited us from going to war there before. In no way. In no way has a Middle Eastern conflict benefited the United States, benefited its people. Yet we do it over and over again. So who has influence? Who has influence over our military? Over the decisions we make to go to war in? Because it's not the people. The average person doesn't want to send their son or daughter off halfway around the world to fight people that have no means of fighting us. Absolutely no means of it. They can do it through refugees, guerrilla-style warfare within our own borders, terrorist attacks, but how do they get here? Well, they get here because we allow these refugees after the wars to come over here, and we can get the same cycle over and over and over again. Now maybe you can just assume people are blackmailed into promoting these wars, allowing them these wars, voting for these wars. And honestly, at this point, everybody in the government's complicit. They're all complicit. They've had since 2019 to release these files. thoroughly, just like how Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna did. I could release every single one of them in a bill, yet it never happened. Now, why wouldn't it happen? Why would we not want justice and accountability? Why do we regard some people as higher than the law? Well, if you're blackmailed, hanging out on that island, doing evil things to children, hanging out at Zoros Ranch, doing evil things to children, maybe you do say, okay, well, we can do that as long as you don't release what I did. Honestly, there's very few people at this point that I would allow to return the government. I'd primary every single soul in Congress. And I hope they all lose. Vote for people from your community. People that actually care about the well-being of this country. So register for the primaries, guys. I think that's really the only solution here. We've just got to clean house. Just clean house and get a government for the people. Register the vote in your primary and go out and actually do it. Send all these people to the private realm. Let them work these companies, as Epstein described. Let them make their list of people they owe their political careers to or whatnot. Don't let them make your laws. Don't let them continue to do these evil things and remain in power, or at least be complicit in these evil things. We've allowed this to go on just too long. Just too long. And now it's likely going to culminate in another war against Iran. Really likely. I don't think we're going to back down, and I don't think it benefits us at all. So, that's where we're at right now with that. Just a little bit of other news. The NHL Winter Classic was yesterday. It was a great 3 hours of distraction, I guess you could say. It is just a distraction. That's all it is at this point. There's a lot worse things going on in the world. You've got evil people doing evil things to kids. But if you took a break yesterday, like I said, about 3 hours, you could watch the NHL Winter Classic. It was spectacular. It looked like the Disney Imagineers all came together and put on a hockey game, pirate-themed, goalie fight, probably 100 minutes of penalties. Probably not 100, probably like 50. But I'd estimate they spent $10 to $15 million, if not more, on that extravaganza. Props, a intermission concert that would rival a Super Bowl. But it was great, so I figured I'd give the NHL its earned media. Spent a lot on production of it. Put on a good show. It's a really good distraction. Yeah, we'll just say that seeing that I'm talking about it on my show, it wasn't 10, 15 plus million dollars spent poorly. We'll say it was well spent. It was extravagant. Everybody liked it. Went to overtime. I mean, it was just a spectacular game. I'm sure the Tampa fans are happy they won. I wish I could have went. I mean, it looked like a Disney production. I guess that's why it's on ESPN. For hockey. And it wasn't any heated rivalry type production, so I guess we can all appreciate that. That's a weird show. Never watched it. just heard it's a weird show. I'll take their word for it, given the plot. Look it up if you want. Don't watch it. That's just silly. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I wonder if anybody else was watching it. Anybody else enjoyed it. But I did want to say, they earned their media time after putting on a production of that nature. I mean, sending the commentators to Disney World to learn how to be a pirate. Dressing them up as pirates. I mean, everything from the walkouts. Tampa Bay Lightning came out in Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniforms, shoulder pads and all. The Boston Bruins came out dressed as the Founding Fathers. It's kind of awesome. Super entertaining, just super entertaining stuff. But don't let it distract you from the real issues that are going on. Real issues that there's a whole list of people, their names included. I mean, I guess the list isn't out, whether the one uniform Rolodex list is a thing or not. There's a lot of people named, a lot of people that have participated in these heinous actions on these islands, at this ranch, at the New York City home. And there's a lot of people that are complicit. Everybody that's been in Congress the last 6+ years. Everybody that's been president. Everybody that's been attorney general. Everyone that's been in the FBI, CIA. They've all been complicit. They've been complicit in the torture of children, if not their murders. But that's where we're at right now. We'll continue to go through these 3 million over the next couple of days. I think I'm going to go Wednesday to the Ryan Rude trial. That's a whole nother strange individual with likely government connections. Not just U.S., but abroad. But all this is unraveling. And if we don't do anything at the polls, it's going to continue to happen. We need actual America First patriots in office. We can't allow, I'll say it, the scum of the earth people that allow this to transpire. We can't allow them to remain in power. We can't allow them to allow it to continue. They found Jeffrey Epstein. Who's the other one? I guess the public found him. The public found him. But who else is doing this? You'd think that a control operation this successful wouldn't be replicated. And so you're probably out of your mind. There's no reason they wouldn't replicate it, especially given how successful it was. It has been. It continues to be at manipulating people in power. People that normally you couldn't manipulate. That you have this footage of them doing these things, and they act like puppets on a string for you. It's happened in the US, it's happened in England, it's happened in Russia, it's happened in Israel. And why wouldn't you replicate something this successful? That's where we are today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and drop a like, comment, share with, somebody that you think needs to further understand what's going on, better understand what's actually the real meaning behind these documents. It's about controlling people in power. It's about controlling populations. And even what the people that are doing it think of you. What do they think of you? I don't appreciate it. Don't think many people do. Yeah, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Rumble, turn on notifications. We'll have some more good shows this week. Plenty of more good shows. We'll continue scouring all 3 million of these documents, looking up names, looking up phrases, anything that'll get us closer to justice. Not only justice for these children, now adults, but justice for the populations but which it's been used to manipulate. So we'll go through these chats. I appreciate all y'all sticking around till the end. Groundhog Day is a fun American tradition. It has nothing to do with the weather. Yeah, it's also silly. It also has 39%. I believe it's 39% effectiveness. He's right 39% of the time. Americans are right 100% of the time. That would make it American. True Americans are right 100% of the time. Write that down. So I'm going to quote that, make it into like a inspirational like poster. And you're right, it has nothing to do with the weather because they've been wrong so many times. And also, I mean, I don't know, is he talking to the groundhogs? Is he speaking with them? Does it like make certain noises and you just know that he's seen a shadow? Is he a body language expert for groundhogs? I mean, you tell me. I just think it's silly. I think it's a distraction. I think it's a whole bunch of crazy people that dress up and want to act important. And we determine whether there's 6 more weeks of winter or not. We're always wrong. It's still cold. Go outside. Do it yourself. You can just walk outside and like feel the air today and you're like, well, it's not spring yet. It's a little bit more accurate as well. People used to say that Elvis was still alive too. Could he be? I don't know. Wasn't Elvis a drug overdose, allegedly? It didn't happen in a metropolitan correctional center with a whole bunch of strange occurrences surrounding it at the time and strange occurrences after. You know, he really could. He really could have just been able to leave. And it wouldn't change a darn thing about the justice we need. Yes, it was a drug overdose. There's also Michael Jackson. Some people think that he's still alive. But I think you could, like, point out Michael Jackson still to this day. You'd be like, yeah, that's definitely Michael Jackson. I can tell that's him. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. If Elvis was still alive, I don't think I'd be able to point him out. I doubt you'd be able to either. But, you know, these videos that we've seen, one of Little St. James with this dude looking up at a drone, that same white hair, very similar skin tone, very similar body structure. Honestly, pretty similar facial features. Dude in the red truck at Zoros Ranch, very similar facial structure, features, hair. The locations that these are, I mean, maybe we just have an FBI person that looks exactly like Epstein. We actually had a CIA person that looked just like him because it was him. And it's just weird. Why would he be there in the years after? Probably pointing people to everything they need to clean up. We never got a thorough investigation in the first place. Never got a thorough investigation. They stopped it. They gave him that plea deal where all his co-conspirators would be let off. They all need to be arrested. We don't need this evil control apparatus manipulation apparatus able to control our government. We just don't. We need a government that represents the people and actually represents justice, law, and order. You know, people actually benefit from this, benefit from the torture that's been done to these kids. That's probably the most disturbing part, is that there are people that actually have benefited from this. Yeah, I'll go ahead and sign off here before I say anything much crazier than what I've said. This is a whole crazy situation. And until we actually see justice, it's probably going to continue to be crazy. That's all I'll say. We're just going to cut it off there. We'll cut it off there. So make sure you guys are dropping a like. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you tomorrow at 4:45 Eastern Time. I know it was a little late today. I'll try and do better tomorrow. But there's just so many of these to go through. So many of these to read. So many names to look up. I guess I missed, Bill Clinton and Bill Gates today. Bill and Bill hanging out on that island. It's just unreal. Apparently Elon Musk wanted to go there at one point. Named Peter Thiel, Leslie Wexner, all these people, Ehud Barak. Just so many people, so little justice, so little accountability. It sucks. It sucks, and it's, rather alarming, because it can happen just like that once again. And you wouldn't know where, you wouldn't know when. The kids will just start going missing for weeks at a time, possibly forever. 400,000 children led across the open border. We know where 150,000 are right now, meaning 250,000 are missing, unaccounted for. Just innocent kids. They didn't do anything wrong. I guess crossing it legally, but you start getting into the victim area when they start being human trafficked. I'm willing to admit that. And we should return them to their families. That's just the way that is, though. Will we ever find them all? Probably not. Jack, I hope you guys have a good evening. Hope all my people on the East Coast get home safe. To my people further west, hope you finish up your workday strong and get home safe as well. See you guys tomorrow with probably more disturbing news. Thank y'all.